Hi everyone, Annie here from Stamp Anything, and today we're going to be making this super cute, the Snuggly Duckling chipboard mini album kit that I designed. It is exclusive to Stamp Anything. Like I said, I designed the whole entire thing, created it, so you're not going to find it anywhere else. We do have limited numbers of these kits to sell, but basically this is the little chipboard album. Um, I did, as an option, put vellum on the back of this cover. It does not come in the kit. Otherwise, your cover page is going to look like this, where you can see the first page in there. So that is just an option you can do. It is a ring binder. So you have the inside cover. You get 6 chipboard pages, which gives you 12 front and back. I mean, look at these gorgeous papers. I just saw them and it screamed Rapunzel Tangled with the purples and the golds. And these are all pre-cut and ready for you just to glue and assemble into your kit. And then you have the back cover as well. I adorned mine with the ribbon that comes in the kit and the 2 charms that also come in the kit. Obviously, you don't have to put your ribbon on your ring binders, because of the shape of the pages, which is just a simple rectangle. You can easily add faux pockets to it if you want, but it's a nice area for you to have space to add journaling and pictures, journaling tags, however you want. And again, like I said, you can also, if you have cardstock that matches the pages, you can make strips down the side to make tuckaways or pockets, completely up to you. But basically the kit comes to make the 2 covers, front and inside back, outside and inside, and then the 6 pages inside. It comes with the ribbon and the chipboards, and again, everything is already die cut out for you. And again, limited edition, so if you are wanting and loving this, you need to grab it right away. So let's go ahead and show you how to put this adorable kit together. So today we're going to be making our Snuggly Duckling mini album. So this is the kit that you'll be getting. We just want to make sure all of our pieces are in our kit. So you're going to have some ring binders, purple ribbon, gold ribbon. You're going to have your decorative paper. Look at how gorgeous this paper is. Absolutely beautiful. You're going to have your 6 chipboard base pages. You're going to have your little ducky cutouts. You're going to have your charms. You're going to have 2 of your bases of the book. You're going to have 4 of these Snuggly Duckling signs, because our cover is the same back and front. So you're going to have 4 of these Snuggly Ducklings. You should have 4 of these strips that have the holes in them. And then you're going to have 4 strips with no holes in them. The ornate topper piece, you should have 4 of those as well. And the little stick, it's got a little bit of a rounded edge on them. You should have 4 of these for the bottom of the tavern sign. So those are all of the pieces that you are going to have in your kits. And we will get started here in just a moment. What you're going to need is some brown ink, because we are going to weather all of our wood pieces to make it look like wood. So you're going to want a piece, some sort of brown ink. Could be any brand that you have. I'm just trying to find mine. I know mine here, it is actually a little dry, so mine's not going to work so well, but basically all you're going to do is you're going to pull your ink across your chipboard, and it's going to give it this faux wood green look to it. And you're going to do this on all 4 of these Snuggly Duckling signs. And the pressure that you're going to put on this is going to depend on your ink pad. Mine is dry, so I am pushing it a little bit harder. But if you have a juicier pad, you're just going to very lightly pull it across. So I would practice that maybe on one of your chipboard pieces here, because that's going to get covered by your paper anyways. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and do this on all of our signs here. And when they're really juicy, literally you can just go once across from top to bottom. I'm kind of pushing mine back and forth, like I said, because mine is a little bit drier. You're also going to want to do it on one side of each of your ornate pieces here. So I'm just going to do that on all 4 of these. You're going to want to do it on one side of all of the remainder chipboard pieces. You only have to do it on one side because it's going to be glued down and the back side will be hidden. Okay, once you have all of the secondary pieces inked, you're also going to be inking a small section on here, because if you were to put this down and your strips, you're going to have this part of the arch that's exposed. So you just want to ink up that bit of the arch. And you want to do this on both sides, front and back, because this is seen on both sides. Just be careful with your pieces here that you don't. Okay, and then you're going to want to get either, you can still use the same brown if you want, but also the part where the Snuggly Duckling is going to go down here, when it's covered, for the letterings to pop a little bit more, I'm going to be taking my black ink and just hitting up the bottom here. And by doing that, it makes the letters show up a bit more. So I'm just going to do, you can do this in brown too. The brown, I've done it on my prototype with the brown ink, and it actually looks really good. The brown and brown, because then it kind of looks like it's wood engraved with the darker brown behind it. And it's okay if you get in the, this is all going to be covered with your other items. So it's okay if you go into the duck area or whatnot. Okay. So now that we have that done, we can go ahead and begin assembling. And I like to start with, where did I put my little duck pieces? Did they fly away? There's my ribbon. Here's my baggie with that. Maybe it's stuck under. Here it is. Okay. So now in your duck pieces here, in this little baggie, you can have a lot of little pieces, so make sure they don't blow away as you're taking them out. But you're going to have the green duck facing this way and also facing that way, and that's because this is going to go on this side and this is going to go on that side. So the first thing that you want to do, oh, and something I forgot, underneath the duck as well, if you want to have it that it's going to have, black eye and a black wing, you're going to want to ink that as well. Otherwise, it's just going to look brown underneath. So that is also something that you want to decide if that's what you want to do. It'll end up looking with the black or the brown behind it. Otherwise, it'll just look like the chipboard. I am going to go ahead and do that really quick on mine. I totally forgot about that. So I'm just going to add the black to where my duck eye and wing will meet up. Okay. And then I will tell you one more thing before you do the back sides of them if you want to add something extra as well. But first of all, we're going to just go ahead and we're just going to put down our green piece. Be very careful of this one little side here because it will snap off, but it's going to be okay because it's going to line up to your chipboard when you put it on, just like so. So we're just going to go ahead now and we're just going to glue on our green layer. And we're only doing the one side right now because I'm going to tell you of an option you can do on your book. And if you want to do this option, you're going to want to do it prior to putting your back piece on. Bring my glue over here. And then we're just going to go ahead and get this all layered on. Oops. And I'm just going to line it up right to the chipboard. Okay. And I'm also going to do at the same time my second one that's facing the same way. So let me grab my other green duck. I'm going to do the two fronts at the same time. Well, one's a front and one's a back. But basically, we're going to put this together. Here is the option that you can do. Once you get all your pieces on, and we're going to reverse and do the same on the back. Before you do the back, if you do not want, because the first page of your album is going to show through like this with the purple, if you want to tone that down and make it look more like a sign, if you cut a piece of vellum paper to go in the window, it'll tone down and frost that first page more like you're looking through a window. So that is an option that you can do. The kit did not come with the vellum, but you are able to add that on yourself if you wanted to. Let me see if I even have a piece of vellum. Usually do, but let's see. Is this vellum here? Here we go. Have a piece of vellum, and I'll just show you what it would, the effect it would end up giving. So without, that is, well, I mean, obviously the duck and everything's going to be done, but this purple piece is going to show through like that on your album. But if you put a piece of frosted vellum in between, it's going to tone it down a bit. I think I'm actually going to do that for my book. So you can do this piece if you wanted to, but again, it is optional. And to do that, I'm just going to cut a piece down. Again, this piece is not included in your kit, but I just want to show you different options you could do. But basically what you would do is you would glue that down here before you assemble the back side of your little, your book. Okay, so, sorry, I know, I got sidetracked there. So let's go ahead and continue. So I need my duck that is facing this way. So I'm going to go ahead and, oops, glue this down as well. And I didn't think of the vellum part until well after designing and going back and realizing, like, if I wanted it to look like, even though in the movie of Tangled, the sign is not even on a window or anything, it's just a hanging sign outside. I just wanted the color of the paper to be hidden a little bit so that when you open that album initially and you see all the gorgeous paper and the color, it hits you before you see it just sitting on your album as a whole. Okay, so there is our green layers. And now I can get my 2 ducks ready. And again, textured side up for the cardstock. If you ever were curious as to which side was which side, it's going to be the textured side. And whenever we provide kits, it's always textured side up. Okay. And I'm just getting my yellow duck piece prepared. And then I can lay him right on top. And it's going to fit perfectly like so. And then I'm going to do the repeat on my second one. Okay, so that is the duck in the grass. And then you have the little pussy willows here. So these are just going to glue right on the edges of your chipboard. So like, for example, this piece of chipboard here started to bend up a little bit. I'm just going to press it down to make it lie flat. And then when I put my piece of paper on top, it'll catch it on the inside and sandwich that piece in between the papers that I am gluing. Of course, now my glue doesn't want to come out. Okay, and I'm just going to glue it on here. And I always like to squeeze on the sides so I know my paper is lining up. And you'll probably end up with more pussy willows than you need in the kit. We just poured them in there. You just need, I think, 8 in total. Okay, just making sure it's sandwiched in between. And then the little beak, again, textured side up. This little beak is just going to go on the end of his face. And then we're going to just repeat it again for our other cover piece, because we are having it where our album pages are going to sandwich between the front and back of these 2 covers. So there's one. And then we're going to put on our other one here. And then I just need one more beak. So you're going to have 2 left-facing ducks and green grass. And then 2 right-facing ducks and green grass for the fronts and the back. And now then, to continue on, we're just going to build up our tavern sign. So you're going to have your ornate top piece that goes on the top. And then you're going to have the parts that have the hole are going to go on the side. The solid. Oh, you know what? There's one more pussy willow that goes off to the side here that I totally forgot. It's kind of cut off, so it's a hard one to see. But that one is going to get caught underneath our stick on the side, our little frame part. So I lied. You need, what, 12? 12 of these per kit. All right, and I'm just going to bring that right there. All right. So back to the building. You're going to have the ones with the holes, the ones without the holes, one for both sides. And then you have your Snuggly Duckling that's going to go down on the bottom like that. And then your little curvy piece goes on top. It's going to fit together like a puzzle. So it's really easy to put it all together. You just want to make sure when you're gluing it down, like I said before, I glue it down and then I run my finger across to make sure like it's all even, so it's fitting in exactly proper form that it needs to be. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to put these together now. Just line it up. And then take your finger, make sure it's all lining up how it should. Because then these pieces should all pretty much just fall right into place once you get them where they do. I will say for the side with the holes, make sure your holes are lining up because this is where your rings are going to go. So you do want to make sure you catch that in the right area. Okay, I'm just going to make sure those holes are lining up. And I'm flushing it to the top piece here and then the side piece there. And I'm going to do the same with the frame side on the right. Flush up to the top, flushing it up to the side. Again, that's why I like to rub my finger along the edges so I can feel like, nope, I need to move it over just a little bit. Okay, and now your Snuggly Duckling down on the bottom should just fit perfectly right in there. And you do want to make sure that you're gluing the little cutout inside pieces of the alphabet letters. If you don't, they can catch on things later on and over time. You know, if you didn't glue these down proper, you don't want your book, 3 years down the line to snag on something and this uplift. So you just always want to make sure. So the inside of the U and the C and the G, just want to make sure you're putting glue on all of those. And then making sure you're pressing down. Now, my glue dries clear, so I don't mind that some glue might be oozing in there. It's totally fine. And then you have your last little piece that is just going to, which side did I ink? It's hard to tell, but I'm going to just put that there. Just gives it a little bit more dimension. So it looks like a nice little textured wooden sign. Okay. And we're just going to put that aside to dry while we build our second one real quick. Okay, and now we have our two covers. Again, optional. If you don't want to do a vellum back, we're just going to flip them over and do the reverse side. But if you did want to do a vellum back, you're just going to want to cut a piece. All right, so that's good. And then I can just push through with a hole, a punch later. So I'm just gonna here, and it'll also strengthen, I guess, this part as well. And I'm just gonna lie this piece right across. Okay, so I have my little frosted window here, and I won't bother and bore you with doing the other one. It's going to be the same basically on the other side of my other one. Okay, so then basically what you're going to do, and I'll just do one with the frosted and then show you, it's the same thing regardless. You're going to take your green duck again and you're going to put your green piece down. So let's just glue him right where we need him to be. Oops, sorry about that. Hit my camera with the glue. Okay, so I'm just going to glue this down. It's a little bit harder to see to line it up, but depending on the vellum that you're using, you should be able to see enough to get your duckling down. And then you also have your yellow piece that's next. And this is the inside of the cover, so it doesn't have to be as perfect on the outside one. Okay, and then I have my little beak. Just get this piece down, and then our little pussy willows. Again, there's 3 on each side. So there's 1. And you could, if you have vellum that's a purplish color or a gold color, you don't have to do a frosted look if you wanted to do it. You could even just put acetate on there if you wanted to, because remember, it's going to be exposing your first page. So if you want to protect your page, you know, over time from dust elements that might get in there or whatever, or because it's opened, this is just a easy little trick, to make your cover not, that first page not as exposed, but it is optional. Again, my first book, I did not do with the vellum. I just left it open, and I still think it came out really great, even that way. Okay, and then we're just going to be building the back side of this as we did our front. So you just need all of your core pieces again. So it's going to be, see, the only difference now is this part of the vellum ends up showing through. Remember, we made sure that we did our arch so it looked prettier on the front side, remember, with the ink. But so on this side, it's going to show on that side, that part of the arch. That's the only thing, but that's why I'm saying this is the inside of your cover, so it's not as perfect. But we're going to go ahead and just glue our pieces right on top. Again, making sure it's flush on the sides, tops, and bottoms. And then I'm going to make sure that my holes are lining up on my side piece. A little piece of vellum is showing right there, so I'm just going to take a pair of snips. Just cut that out. And then I can glue this piece on. And after we get the covers done, the rest of the album is super easy assembly. It's just gluing your paper to your pages. Oops, shifted there. Okay. And then my other side. And you just want to make sure it's flushing to the top and on your sides. And then this is going to just fit. Oh, well, we didn't think of this piece either. Okay, so this is why it's a little bit uglier on the inside. You can go ahead and trim this off if you can. I just have an X-Acto pen knife, so I'm going to see if I can just cut it away, which I'm not so sure it will work so nice. Let's see what happens. That was the glue part, so I might have to put some more black ink in there. Okay, so that's not so bad, but let me grab it on this side. So it was a good thing that I ended up cutting that extra piece off when I first said, oh, I don't really need to go that far. Again, this is just an option, so I'm just going to say that's better. Let's just get this little piece cut out here. And this is why, when I craft, sometimes, I think of things as I'm doing them. They don't always pan out exactly right, but, and then I'm just going to take a Copic marker just to kind of get this color in here. A Sharpie would do just as fine if you did it in black. If you did it in brown, you just want something that's going to match your color. Okay, but now it's fixed. And I can continue on with my next part here. Okay, we're just gonna slide that right there. And then we just need our little sliver of the wood of the last part of the tavern. And that will go right there. Again, making sure it's all lining up and flush at my bottom. So now I have my front and my inside front. The only thing I don't like is that piece there showing through, but again, that's the inside of my cover, so I'm not going to worry so much about it. And now for our back cover, I'm going to just go ahead and assemble him. This one I'm not going to put the vellum on, just so you guys can see cover-wise, maybe which one you don't mind or like a little bit more. And you can always, ink blend the edges if you wanted to give it a little more dimension, or hit it up with, if you have Copic markers, whatever you want to give it a little bit more. You are able to do that if you wanted to. Okay, so we have our front and our back of our covers. We're just going to put these aside. Now the super easy part is your paper and your pages. And you're just going to glue one sheet on both sides. Okay, so now we have all of our pages done. Look at this beautiful, beautiful paper. My favorite one is the one that looks like it's got like a flower on it. This one. I love this one. Love it. Anyways, okay, so now what you're going to do is you have your covers and your papers. So basically all you need to do is, so this is if you wanted with that, that's the look if you were to do it with the vellum, and this is the look if you did it without the vellum. So it's completely up to you how you want to do that book. Okay, so then basically what you're going to do is you're just going to stack all of your items together, and you have your little ring binders clips, and you're just going to feed them through. What I like to do with chipboard albums as well, which is another option that you can do, is I like to take sandpaper or a nail file, and I like to rough the edges so it looks worn. Again, that's just a personal preference. If you wanted to do that, you know what? I think we should be doing looping it through the back side, not the front side, so that the bump of your ring binder is in the back of your book, not the front. So if you were to put it front loading, you get the clip there, whereas opposed to it could be in the back. Yeah, of course you could just twist it around, but it makes it a little bit harder to twist sometimes. But we're just gonna move them to the back. It's just a quicker phase if you just start from the back to the front of the ring binder, and just twisting it through, and then twist to the side, and then that last one again. Once you get like the first sets of them in, then the other ones are really easy. All right, so there is your part there. Then you also have charms and you have ribbon. Now, if you want to put journaling tags and pockets, you can save your ribbon for those types of things. I like to also tie them on my ring binders, sometimes to hide my binders. Okay, the charms that you got, and your color may vary a little bit, but This was the closest I thought this kind of looked like the sun symbol from the movie. And then I just found these because they match the paper perfectly. They're like a translucent purpley blue with some gold on there. And then I have some string. So you can just string this up however you want. You can tie them on your tie binders. You can tie it to the top of your ornate part if you want. If you want to save it for a specific page, you can do that as well. So you can attach these however you want. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut my string in half, or actually, yeah, because I'm going to put them on two different strings, I think. But yeah, you can do the embellishment parts however you want on here. And I'm just gonna get this strung up here. I'm gonna just tie a knot. And then I am going to probably put these on, and it's a little bit of a stretch, elasticy kind of string, not a lot, but there is a little bit of a stretch. I always square knot when I do my knots. A square knot is you tie the first one with it going over and through the back, and then the other one is you just do it in the reverse with your going to the left and then over. Here, I'll show you on this one. So when you're tying a knot, normally you're putting your right one over your left, and then the back tail through, and you're tying. And a square knot is just the opposite. You go over, but you take the left side to go through and make the knot. I probably didn't explain it very well. I'm not a knot master, but I just always do square knots because it doesn't, you know how sometimes if you just do a single knot, they'll loosen over time. And then for my ribbon, I am just going to grab, where's the end here? I'm just going to grab and trim off some various pieces. Those scissors are not cutting so well, so hold on, let's do it here. And then I am just going to tie, actually this might be too much ribbon here. I'm going to tie like so, cut, and I can have another one. And I'm going to mix the purple with the gold ribbon to fill up my binder rings. And there we have it. And you can continue to do ribbons wherever you want. You can take a gel pen, add some highlights if you wanted